What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with another good week. It's me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy.
And we got 6 good guests for you guys. We got Brendan Allen, who's going to talk about his big win over Chris Harris, sitting in line for the middleweight title with LFA. Ian Heinisch, you got lots of stuff to talk about. So, we'll be talking with Brendan in a minute. Looking forward to that conversation. We have got
Christian Lee,
1FC teenage phenom Christian Lee. So he's going to be in talking with us about his upcoming fight. He's got one coming up, so look forward to that conversation. Tiffany Bice is going to join us, the flyweight LFA 19 contestant. I knew I'd get that right. There's a lot of kind of stuff going on there. Tiffany Masters is going to join us. She'll be competing actually on the Dana White Contender Series. Really looking forward to her fight. First female to compete on the series. A little bit of history there for us.
We're already at week 6.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we will close out the show with Sam Alvey and finally Antonio McKee. Alvey will be talking about his big win over Rashad, his call out of Vitor, a lot of other things going on about the fight. Antonio will be on. Always a good conversation with Antonio. He'll be talking about, he's got an upcoming fight in October, just had a baby son. Got AJ coming up in the ranks. He'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Overall, we got a really great show, so stay with us. 6 great guests. Enjoy.
Brendan Allen, another finish.
Did a good job. Watch him lock this arm out. This is a joint lock on the elbow with a gi on because they can't slide out of it.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back in the house with Brendan Allen, who's coming off a huge win at LFA 18 over Chris Harris. What's going on, Brendan? Thanks for joining us, brother.
Hey, man. How you doing? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Nice, man. Nice. It was a big fight, a great performance. What were your thoughts on the performance?
Honestly, man, I didn't feel the performance was that great. I didn't feel I was there mentally in the first. I just didn't feel like I was going to fight. We had a good warm-up, we had to figure it out, because it's my first camp with them and everything like that. So, figure out a little quirks like that, but just had to wait a little bit longer than we expected. The fight before me went 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So, the mentality I was supposed to have, I had to kind of faded away. And but I got it back in the second when I was able to turn it up a little bit. But ultimately, I wasn't happy with the performance. Even after watching it, I was, I felt okay with it after watching it. I felt I got to show a couple things for the first 2.5 minutes that I learned in the camp, and a couple things that changed. After that, I just got kind of tired from not breathing with my punches and all that junk, and caught my second win in the corner. But
right.
Yeah, it was all right, man.
Yeah, you definitely when you came out in the second, it was almost like you were revigorated. Like, yeah, it sounds makes sense. You're saying you caught your second win because you looked like a completely different guy come the second round. Was it your game plan to get it to the ground? Did you feel like that was where you were going to have your biggest advantage over Chris Harris?
Honestly, man, I felt like the stand-up I was going to control. That's what my corner and my coaches felt I would control it as well. My jab was on point coming into the fight. It was for the first 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Chris even said the same thing, man. He told me after the fight he couldn't see it coming. He's a boxer, so he's been boxing for a while, so he can tell. He looks for shoulder and elbow movement, and he said he couldn't see none of it. And so I knew the jab was on point. The 2 didn't land like I wanted to. He just kind of turned a little funny as he walked in. So I was kind of adjusting that a little bit as we kept going. But like I said, I didn't breathe in my punches at all, so I got kind of tired. And but I realized that reaching out for his punches kind of threw him off a little bit. So he was only able to hit me with 2 that looked solid punches. I didn't feel them in the fight, with the adrenaline going. But they from the video they landed.
You look really composed in there, man. What did you learn from the Anders fight that you were able to utilize this time around?
It's just kind of more self-belief, and from there it was mostly, man, just going to the camp and learning the basics that I didn't learn, as far as stepping back with my back foot first instead of my front. Like I did with Eric, I throw my punches and step back with my front leg first.
Yeah.
And it would make me stand tall, and that's when he would hit me. Other than that, if I threw my 2 and stepped off to the left, Eric would never hit me. So these are little things like that. Stepping back with my back foot first, throwing at about 80% instead of 100, so I don't overcommit on punches. Little things like that really helped my game out a lot and really helped my stand up. If I just would have breathed with my punches a little bit more, I think I definitely would have showcased. Or because those kicks to the body were landing very, very flush. I remember going out on the second, throwing one, and him just kind of slowly coming back up.
Yeah.
And he told me it hurt. I think that I definitely would have put him away in the third if I would have just stay composed in the second. But my game plan, going back to your question, was just keep it thinking, man. I wanted to shoot even if they didn't land. You know, some of those shots weren't even just to, like, I don't know, they were kind of just to get them to think. They weren't. I wasn't expecting to land them all, to be honest with you. I was expecting them to sprawl on a couple and then sit out or back out, you know, and go from there. But they were just to get him to think and keep him on his toes, you know, so it wouldn't come in so much.
You know, even though it was only a couple weeks, how beneficial was it to get that time in at Rufus Sports for you?
Oh, man, it was amazing. Like you said, I only was there for 2.5 weeks. The whole learning curve was probably about 2, and other than that, I mean, honestly, it was only for our stand-up, it was learning probably a week, and then after that, it was just all drilling. Those simple things. Jiu-jitsu, you know, my jiu-jitsu is really good. So Coach Daniel helped me just fix a couple things, you know, just like minor things in my game, little things. So it was kind of weird, but it was amazing to see such a high-level guy tweak my game a little bit. And I've been around high-level guys my whole career as far as jiu-jitsu goes, and Daniel's definitely one of the best that I've ever rolled. It's probably the best I've ever rolled outside of Professor Shukau, who's been a black belt just for 20 years. So it was great, but like you said, that was 2.5 weeks, man. I think I showed a little bit in the beginning of my stand-up with my jab and my footwork and things like that. So just imagine a full camp how it's going to be.
Absolutely, you know, and they have a good selection of bodies over there. They're more known for their elite fighters in like the smaller weight classes, 170 and under, for the most part. Who did you have there to put in work with?
Man, I had you know, like, there's a lot of lower guys too, but, you know, I had Mike Biggie Rhodes. Gerald Mearshart was probably my biggest and best training partner as far as passing knowledge to me and opening, I can't even get it out correctly. But he was very open to show me his knowledge, because that guy's been around this sport for over 10 years. He's 29 years old, and he's been around this sport for 10 years. It's just an amazing thing. He has a lot of fights. He's fought a lot of very good guys. So him and Biggie, and they got a guy, JP St. Louis, fight next week on LFA. He's 1-1, but he didn't even have a full camp to fight for his last fight for LFA. Other than that, he's been sitting on the sidelines for 2 years just training. So if he goes in there and performs how he does in the gym, I am telling you right now that this kid is going to be on the map within 2 fights. You know, LFA is going to love him. Everybody's going to love him, but he's going to be on the map for sure. Outside of that, I had Craig Eckelberg. I had Cam Olsen, who fights in the Contender Series, and a lot of other guys as well, you know, but those were probably my main ones that I can think of just off the top of my head. But like I said, Gerald and Biggie were just there to help me the entire time. Gerald was actually my cornerman for the fight. So I don't know, man. It's just a big family, and I seem to fit in really well, and I love all the guys there, man. They're definitely part of my family already, man, just how much they're willing to help me. From
this point out, will you be doing all your camps at Rufus Sports?
Yes. So all my camps will be done at Rufus Sports. Like I said, hopefully, like I talked to everybody at LFA, I didn't know that the belt was getting fought for until after weigh-ins. Kind of aggravated me a little bit based on that he's fighting. You know, the guy's 8-0, but stylistically it's a horrible matchup. But like I told them, you know, I'm not worried about that. I'm on vacation right now with my family, and I'm focusing on that and just healing up my shin. But I'm going to let that play out. Give me a full camp, and I'll fight whoever they want. You know, for me, a full camp's at least 5 weeks. Give me that. I'll fight whoever they want me to. Hopefully it's for the belt, but if not, you know, I'll fight whoever.
Well, I guess before we even say, I imagine it would be for a belt. I can't imagine who would be sitting in front of you after Heinisch and Perez compete. While we're on that topic, congratulations on being named a Flow Combat #1 ranked middleweight under 30 in North America.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's an honor. So I want to congratulate you on that. Let me ask you this though: why was it Rufus Sports? Why did Rufus Sports make the most sense? What was your thought process there? Of all the elite gyms, you went there.
So I've actually got a lot of friends that train a lot of different places. My friend Jay Sherman trains at Greg Jackson, and then we have guys like Sean Jordan that's trained at Greg Jackson, who's trained at ATT. Dustin Poirier trains at ATT. I have all these guys from back home that I've spoke with, got their input about the camps, how they feel. It just tells me about the camps, you know? And then I got the chance to go to the GORE, which is like for all the coaches and stuff for Rufus Sports affiliates and all that. So I got the chance to come down for like the camp for that, and get to see everything and train with all the guys. And from there, man, it was just, it's kind of like love at first sight like that, man. For me, it was just amazing. I've never been somewhere that has so much, knowledge and experience in one place. And I like the fact that this gym isn't like ATT where you're fighting every day in the gym because you got guys trying to prove themselves,
Yeah.
That's the main thing that I heard from a lot of different people, not even the guys that I talked to, but interviews and everything else. Just guys are like, new guys come in and they want to make a name off of guys that already have names like Sean and Dustin and Danger and, guys that already have a name that are in the UFC. These new guys come in and they just want to prove themselves, and now these guys are forced to turn it up. So you end up fighting in the gym you're not getting paid for that.
Yeah.
So here at Rufus Sports, we're like a big family, but when it's time to fight or it's time to train hard, we're there. But you know it. You know that it's going to be a fight when that training session comes and everyone wants to go hard. You know that, and you just brace yourself for those days, and you just embrace those days. But at the end of the day, you walk out, you're still a big family. And like I told you before, everybody that trains there goes through Duke. So you're not going to have an abundance of guys in the same weight class or guys that don't fit in. You know right away if you don't fit in or not. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just a great environment for me. I feel where I lack, they can help me, which is in the stand-up, and which I've already learned through myself. And even in jiu-jitsu, there's definitely nothing lacking there. Coach Daniel is amazing, and he's fought himself a while ago and been around the game for a long time. And as far as wrestling, we got guys that know how to wrestle. Gerald wrestles with Ben Askren. If you're really fighting a guy that's a big wrestler, they can make that happen, and we can go over to Ben's. But there's still guys at the gym that are wrestlers that come from college and everything like that. So there's tons of knowledge and not tons, but good, able bodies that can train you that have knowledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just brought it up a minute ago, but speaking of the LFA middleweight title, you're back on the cusp of that title shot again. Twice you've made it right there against Giles. That was likely a contender fight, and with Anders. And you just fell short both times. Now you'll likely face the winner of Heinisch and Perez. Why will this time be different? What is it about this time that'll be a different outcome for you?
It's hard to say, I felt like I dropped the ball personally myself. The two losses that I had, like I say, I felt I lost to myself more than them. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to make excuses. That's not the kind of person I am. They would have been a man that night. But I feel it's definitely my time. I'm being around these guys that I have no question when I step into a fight now. Do I have to worry about this? Fighting a bigger guy than I'm used to training with, things like that. I'm not worried about none of that anymore. I'm just focusing on myself and learning as much as I can. And it's great to be in a place now where I'm not at the top of the food chain anymore. I can sit here and learn from these guys and, learn as much as I can and try to apply it and just get better overall. I'm not here to plateau. I'm here to just keep climbing up the mountain. And I felt like I was plateauing a little bit. Oh, actually a lot where I was. Where now it's just like you walk into it and it just opens your eyes. And I definitely feel like I'm at the bottom of the food chain again as far as learning and everything like that. So it's amazing.
What does that do for you motivationally speaking, like when you step into the gym every day, to know that you're stepping in a place where you're at the bottom of the totem pole again, or not necessarily the bottom, but you know what I mean?
Well, I feel like I thrive in those situations, It just makes me train even harder because, all these guys have been there multiple years and I'm just coming in, but I don't beat any of them up. And some days, they beat me up. Some days we're tit for tat. Some days on the ground I might get the better of them, but there's never they kick my butt or I kick their butt real bad, So, but still, man, just being able to learn from those guys, it boosts my confidence so much. Just training with these guys, and I feel like there's knowing that I'm going to fight that's going to be better than these guys, and knowing that I'm still learning and just started with them. It makes me hungry as can be to be there and to fight and gain that experience and just get to the big show.
Speaking of the title shot again, I had to believe that Ian Heinisch is probably going to be the favorite against Perez. He has a very similar fighting style to Eric Anders. How would your time in the cage with Eric benefit you if you happen to draw Heinisch for the title, given like stylistically they're very similar?
I feel Chris was a way better fighter than than Ian. You know, I feel Ian's one of those guys, as soon as you touch him, he's going to shoot, and he's going to try to make it just pure wrestling and get you on the cage to take you down. His last fight definitely did not impress me. He would never even come close to tapping me with anything like that. As far as Eric, you know, the fight's already happened. You know, like I told you, like I said, I feel like I lost myself to him after getting clipped. You know, the takedowns or nothing. I didn't feel like he was making me work to get back up, and I didn't feel like he was doing damage, but he was controlling the fight to the judges, which is why I didn't, you know, attempt to wear myself out to try to stop those takedowns, which I was able to do all the way in the first and all in the fifth. I don't think he took me down at all in the fifth, and I know he didn't take me down at all until I got hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, all that's dead and gone. I'm definitely at a different point in my life and in my career with a new gym, and like I said, I don't feel Ian's going to have anything for me. I come in there where I need to be mentally, and I definitely finish Ian by the end of the second.
Sweet, end of the second. We'll remember that for when I'm betting, man. I'm a betting guy.
Yeah, man, no doubt. You know, he's going to talk his crap, but like I said, he's got a task in front of him no matter what. It's still a fight. Anything can happen.
Right.
But he better hope if he does win, he goes to the UFC right away, because if so, that title's going to be taken from him by myself. So, but like I said, I'm on vacation right now. We're literally at SeaWorld right now in San Antonio with my niece. Having a great time, healing up this leg, well, as best as I can, you know, a lot of walking. But after that, you know, get home and get right back to it, man. There's no rest. I'm still going to be training. And as soon as I get the call from Duke telling me we got to fight, get back up there and do what I need to do.
Sweet, man. Well, listen, I look forward to seeing you back in the cage. Thanks for coming on the show and talking to us. Congratulations on the huge victory. It was a good performance, and I really look forward to seeing you back in the cage again, man, hopefully sooner than later. Yeah,
man, no doubt. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it as always, man. It's good talking with you.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man. Take care.
You too, man.
Him and Heinisch would be a great fight.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good one.
LFA's the rosters. It's like they lose Anders, but they're still pretty deep considering how new the. Well, it's not exactly completely new, but
I don't necessarily share his opinion of Heinisch.
No,
I think he's real good.
Yeah.
Real good.
I think people like that have like a more well-rounded skill set that they tend to not like it when somebody uses their one. You know.
Yeah. Well, Heinisch is super tough, man. That would be a great fight. More importantly, it was good to see him bounce back the way he did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Against Chris Harris, because it could be bad for some guys. They come off a loss like he had to Anders, and it's kind of like a huge setback, especially to a young guy like 21, 22, and it's like.
Luckily, Eric was pretty nice as a pretty great gracious winner. You know, and he said a lot of nice things about Brendan, so that probably helped out a bit.
Yeah. I think a lot of these guys have a mutual respect, right? They all have the same goal. It's just they're kind of in each other's way, right? So it's kind of the way it is. I look forward to that fight. I look forward to seeing them see when they get back in there. Whoever it is, whether it's Perez or Heinisch, it's going to be a good one. So overall, it was a good interview. Next up, we have the teenage sensation Christian Lee. Well, he won't be a teenager much longer. He's got about 3/4 of a year left until he's 20. But we're going to talk to him. He's got a fight coming up. They're going to run it back. What was the name? Oh, I can't remember the name right now. The guy he was supposed to Suba. It's like Keanu Suba. That's right. Just gonna stick with me there for a second. It was a little hard to remember, but he's got that fight coming up, so we're gonna talk to him and we're gonna see what's going on and where he's at, and should be a good conversation as always. So stay with us. We're gonna have Christian Lee on the line when we come back. Talk to you soon.
Elbows are going to cause more damage. He's covering up. Wang Jianping's got to start moving. He can't take a lot of those elbows. He can't take a lot of this ground and pound. Punishment to the head. Christian Lee saw it coming, took his chance, and look at how excited he is about it.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with one championship superstar, Christian Lee. What's going on, Christian? Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back, brother.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. How's everything been? How's camp and everything leading up to the fight?
Everything's been great. Fight camp has been great, and I'm more than ready to put on a great show.
Yeah, man. You're coming off a great performance, which was a great rebound for you to get back up in the win column. A really awesome performance. One of the things before we get started with your upcoming fight, man, I noticed you after your last fight you had a chance to meet Manny Pacquiao. What was that like for you, man?
Oh, my last fight came out just the way I wanted to. I was very satisfied with my performance. And to meet Manny Pacquiao right after my fight was just, it was just icing on the cake. It was such an amazing experience meeting someone who I look up to very much in the boxing world for all that he's accomplished. And, definitely was an honor to meet him.
Yeah, man. I can only imagine what that must have felt like as a boxing fan. I would have been ecstatic as well. We spoke prior to your last fight, and your demeanor and attitude was much different than it had been in like previous conversations we had before your fight. What was different about your headspace going into the last fight? Coming off your loss and the layoff, which was longer than you normally would take. How was your headspace different?
I feel that going into my last fight, and especially going into this fight, I've matured a lot as a fighter, as a martial artist and as a fighter. And going into the fight, I wouldn't say I was any more prepared than I've ever been, but I've just changed my approach in the sense that, I don't want to put this. I don't want to sound, too confident, but I don't have any doubt in my head that this guy's gonna beat me. Before I wanted to fight. I was nervous. It was just like I was just real praying for the win. But coming into this next fight and going into my last fight in April, I knew that I put in the work. I know I put in the hours, the blood, sweat, tears, and I know that whoever they place in front of me, I'm going to walk right through them.
Is this a change in demeanor that comes with experience, with age? What do you think brings on that change that allows you to view the fight differently?
I don't feel that it's age that determines experience, but I would say that the hours that you put into your craft and the hours that you spent focusing on your craft, that's what really determines the experience factor. And I feel that I'm more focused than ever, and I put in the hours, I put in the work. So when I get in there, it's nothing new. It's nothing that I haven't done before, nothing that I haven't prepared for. Countless hours in the gym.
Where did you, speaking of the hours in the gym, where did you put in a majority of your camp for this fight? Was it in Hawaii or Singapore? Did you split? What went on?
For this fight camp, I spent the entire camp here in Hawaii at United MMA, training with my father. I do try to split my time between training at United and training at Evolve MMA in Singapore, which is a amazing gym. But this fight camp, I was able to split the camp, and I spent the full camp in Hawaii.
Well, what made you to make that decision? What made you decide to stay in Hawaii?
Well, actually, contrary to my sister, she usually splits her camps half and half. For me, I help to teach a majority of the classes at our gym, and so I feel that it's part of my responsibility to help take care of the school. My dad opened this gym for our family, and so I feel that I have to be here to watch the school, to help run the classes, and to make sure everything is going smooth. So on top of training for my fight camp, I teach almost every class here at United.
What do you enjoy more, man, fighting or teaching?
I would say they go hand in hand, because the thing that I love most is just martial arts. And when you teach, it opens up your eyes, it opens up your perspective to a whole new way of thinking. To be able to teach a 6-year-old an armbar, never done any type of martial arts or any physical activity in his whole life, to be able to break down the steps, you need to understand it so much better than if you just did it yourself. Be able to help a child understand it, it broadens your view of thinking as well, and it actually helps me to be a better fighter, I feel.
You're running back the fight with Keanu Suba. What made you decide to take that fight? What made this fight worth running back? Because you guys were supposed to fight like 4 months ago, and he pulled out with an injury. So what made you make the decision to run this fight back?
We were supposed to fight all the way from the beginning of last year.
Oh, okay.
This is the third time we're scheduled to fight. And for me, the thing is, he's another up-and-coming prospect. And it's just going to be a test of who's ready for the next step up in competition. And for me, I never choose my fights, and so I leave it up to one championship, and they line up the fight, so it's happening.
What do you think of him as an opponent? Because obviously, if this is the third time they've set this up, you've already given him some mental energy, right? Like you've already prepared for him at least once before. So what do you think of him as an opponent?
Yep, I prepared for him. This is the third fight camp I've prepared for him.
Right.
And so I've studied his movements, I've studied his tape. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter with good kill instinct in the cage. I feel that when we touch gloves, it's going to be clear the difference in caliber.
Speaking of that, where do you see yourself having most advantages in this fight? Because I know you and your sister are like a path of least resistance martial artists, where you're going to take the game where it's strong for you to take the game. You're very smart like that. Where do you feel like those strengths are for you in this fight?
I feel like in this fight, it's to my favor. I beat him everywhere.
Nice. I like the confidence. I got to tell you, man, now this is the second time I spoke to you where your demeanor just seems a little bit different about these fights. You seem, and I could be wrong, but you seem more aggressive. You seem more very clear about knowing that you're going to win this fight, if that makes any sense to you. What brought on this difference in mentality towards the fight?
Well, I'm hungry, man. I've been working my butt off for this, and I'm no longer just going in there trying to prove myself. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm set on taking out everyone in my path en route to fighting for that world championship belt. So, I got my eyes on the prize, and it's just laser focus right now. Speaking
of that, but you have one hiccup on your record. Everything else is a first round domination of your opponents. How close do you feel like you are to that title shot right now?
I definitely see title within reach. Of course, you have to win and you have to perform well in each of these fights. But,
at what point do you sort of start to look at Gaffarov? I have a hard time with those names. With Gaffarov with a more critical eye, like as a potential opponent. At what time do you start to eye the champion like that?
Oh man, the thing is, when you're the champ, everyone's got their eyes on you.
Right.
So the moment I joined the organization, I've had my eyes on Gaffarov. From the moment he became champ, I've had my eyes on him. So when the time comes, I'll be more than ready.
Do you spend time, like even now that you're not there yet, you don't have a fight with him yet, or you don't anticipate one right now, do you still start to prepare for him? Do you start to look at his movements and start to break him down? Is that something that you do?
I definitely study his tape. I definitely watch his movements. But when I'm preparing this close for a fight with another opponent, Keanu Suba, I try not to spend any energy focusing on Gaffarov, because the thing is, all of my energy is directed 100% towards Suba right now.
Right.
He is first and foremost the most important threat at hand, and if I don't get past him, there's no way I'm getting to Gaffarov. So
True.
I need to focus on getting past him, and then I look towards fighting for the champ.
At only 19, you have nothing but time, obviously, in the sport. Is it hard for you not to rush the process of getting to a title shot and kind of just taking it as it comes? Do you ever get to a point where you get like antsy and you're like, I want this right now, as opposed to maybe like, taking the road and just taking it one step at a time?
Well, the thing is, for me, on one hand, I want to win that belt as quickly as possible. While on the other hand, I'm not in a rush.
Right.
My main goal is to be the best fighter that I can possibly be myself, and to continue winning fights in impressive fashion. All I want to do is to keep racking up the wins, keep building my record, and keep doing what I love. So if I follow all those steps, the belt is going to come. I'm not going to chase it.
True. I've believed that that's in your future for a long time, man. I've been a fan of yours since you started, and I still believe that. I think you're one of the best young talents in the game. You started this game when you were crazy young. You were like 17, I think, right, when you had your first pro fight?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's crazy young by MMA standards. But from your debut until now, you're 19 now. Have you grown more physically or mentally as a mixed martial artist? And how do you mean, and why do you say that? Like, why do you decide which one you've grown more in?
From 17 to 19, definitely physically, I've gone up everywhere. I'm stronger, I'm faster. My technique is better. I'm tossing around guys way bigger than me. But in comparison, definitely the mental aspect has grown tremendously from the time I first started. 17 years old. I was good. I was ready. I was prepared. But if my 19-year-old self right now fought my 17-year-old self, no chance. Not a chance.
Not a chance?
Everything that I've learned in the last 2 years is worth a lifetime of experience. So,
fair enough. And one last question for you, man. I'm a betting guy, so what's the bet for me for your fight against Suba, man? How do you see it ending?
Oh, I would definitely recommend all in. It's gonna be, it's gonna end in a finish.
Awesome,
I don't know what round it's gonna be in, but I would put my money on the first round.
First round. All right. Gotcha. Noted. Listen, Christian, I want to thank you, man. You always make time for us. I really appreciate that. And I really look forward to seeing this fight, man.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it.
100%, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, Christian, and good luck, brother.
All right. You too. Have a good one.
All right, man. 19 years old. He's already been a pro for 2 years.
I was just going to say, what were you doing when you were 19?
I wasn't a professional. What was I doing when I was 17, 19, 22?
It's amazing the discipline and the focus. It's like he's talking about 17 to 19. Like, you know what I mean? I can't remember 25 to 28.
Listen,
it's kind of a blur to me.
As a parent, I want to sit down with his dad and mom and be like, what'd you guys do? Yeah. You got 2 kids. Both of them were professional athletes by the time they were like 17, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. Both of them are just stand up on top of the game, like good people.
Yeah.
From what I could tell. Obviously I don't know them personally, like to hang out with them, but they seem like super nice people. Mm-hmm. Always make time. They're always polite and everything, everything you kind of want. So parents did an A1 job. Yeah. As a parent, I know that you always suffer with that when you're like, oh God, please let them turn out to be good people.
You can hear in his voice. He said that he doesn't worry about like how well he's doing. As far as like he doesn't have to prove himself anymore, but you can still hear it in his voice, and it's just like, you're 19. You can still hear he's still there. He's like, he wants to win. He's still desperate to win, but it's just like, you have a lot of time, man.
Oh,
I'm glad he answered that question that way, because it's like, you have so much time. Like, even 10, realistically, you don't want to fight for like a super long amount of time.
But in 10 years, he would still be in the heart of his prime.
Yeah. No, it's
he won't even touch his prime for like another 5-6 years.
Especially he's not a brawler either. You know what I mean? He's a technical fighter.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great conversation. I really love the Lee family. Both Christian and Angela are always super nice, so I always enjoy that conversation. We're going to be right back with Sydney Bice, who is getting ready to compete at LFA 19. We're looking forward to it. We're going to have him on the show, so stay with us. We're going to be right back. Sydney Bice on the line. See you in a minute. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Sydney Bice, who's getting ready to take on Kenny Porter at LFA 19 on August 18th. What's going on, Sydney? Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
100%, man. How's everything been? How's camp going?
Oh man, it's been great, dude. Couldn't ask for anything better, man. I'm injury free and feeling in great shape, so can't wait for this next week.
Absolutely, man. How does it feel to be on a more active schedule? This will be your third fight this year, and you only had one fight a year for the past 2 years. Does that make your preparations easier?
Yeah, man. I feel like definitely wasn't my what I wanted those last 2 years. You know, I think my weight class and my skill level just kind of put me in that position. You know, it's really hard for me to find the fights, and you know, I got a new manager this year, and he's really been helping me out a lot. So, you know, kudos to him, and he's been finding me fights, and I want to say that because it's possible. So I think this year it's finally getting on track and making some stuff happen.
You know, and you got a tough one coming up with Kenny. What do you know about him as an opponent, and how do you feel about the matchup?
Hello?
Hello, are you there? Sydney, are you there?
Oh, I'm here.
Hey, sorry about that, man. I'm not sure what happened there.
No, it's all right.
No, what I was saying is, what do you know about Kenny as an opponent, and how do you feel about the matchup?
I mean, I feel the matchup's great. You know, I mean, pretty much everyone at this level is pretty well rounded. I think his striking's probably his strong suit. But I don't think it's anything I haven't seen. You know, I've fought some great guys, some great strikers already. Besides that, man, I feel like his game's kind of mediocre. I think his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is kind of, you know, mediocre. And I feel like my striking is just as good as his, if not better. So I feel like I got him on every aspect of the fight game next week, you know. So I think I control the fight and take it where I want to.
And where do you feel like where do you feel like it would be most advantageous for you to take the fight? Like when you look at him, where do you feel like your biggest advantages are?
Definitely my wrestling. You know, I think that's my strongest suit.
Right.
It's my background. You know, I grew up wrestling since I was about 4, so I feel like I always have the advantage in wrestling, and I feel like my jiu-jitsu and striking have both come a long ways too. But my wrestling is by far my strong suit.
When you think of the fight, I don't know if you're a type of guy who visualizes things, but a lot of people do. How do you see yourself winning the fight?
I've dreamt about this a couple times, man. I feel like I'm gonna knock this guy out. You know, I feel like I'm gonna use my wrestling and get him worried about the takedown, and then my hands are gonna get set up, and I'm gonna land some big shots and put him down.
Absolutely. And what round for us betting folks? You got a round prediction?
And my dream is in the second, so I'm going with the second round.
All right, we're gonna have to throw that in on the parlay, man. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, right now you're sitting 8-1. How close do you feel you are to a shot in the UFC? I mean, you're entering that territory with an 8-1 record. So where do you feel like you sit?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I feel like I've kind of been knocking on that door for a while now. You know, I know my coach and managers have been talking to them about me, so they know my name, and my name's been in their ear for a while. So, you know, I just got to go out there and perform. I got to go out there and get a good win, and hopefully get a knockout, and you know, show these guys that I'm the next thing that's coming up, and hopefully they can get signed. You know, I think that's everyone's goal in my position. You know, is make it to the highest level and fight the best guys in the world, and that's my dream. And I've been striving for it, man. I've been grinding and pushing for that goal every day.
You know, what league appeals most to you now? Like most time we just throw at UFC because most people that is the route that they're looking to take. But as a featherweight, you have endless options. I mean, Bellator has a stacked 145 division. You got Gallagher, you got AJ McKee. You have a lot of people over there. You have the UFC is obviously 145 is one of their most talent-rich divisions. Obviously, where you are in LFA is also a very talent-rich 145 division. What speaks out to you more? Do you have a preference of where you would end up?
You know, honestly, I've always wanted to fight for the UFC. You know, if Bellator offered me something, I'd definitely go with them. But you know, I feel like the UFC is the the top of the game. You know, I want to fight the best in the world, and I want to prove that I'm the best in the world. So, you know, I got to go fight those guys. And I know Bellator has some top caliber guys that they do. You know, some of those guys could definitely compete in the UFC, and most of them probably have at one point in time. You know, but the UFC is definitely where I want to be.
And when you look at their 145 division, is there anyone that's like, you know, leaps out at you like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a debut fight with that guy? Like,
I actually fight at 25, but you know, honestly, my dream fight, I'd love to fight Demetrius Johnson. I know he's one of the best in the world, but I feel like I'm the same caliber as this guy. You know, I want to go in there and fight the best, and you know, I hope someday I get to share the cage with him and go show the world what I can do.
First, I want to make an apology to you, man. For whatever reason, I wrote you
okay.
down as a featherweight, bro. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, he's not a featherweight. So I sincerely want to apologize for I don't know why I did that, or I don't know how that happened, but I sincerely apologize.
Okay.
Have you thought about the Dana White Contender Series at all?
Like you know, I have actually. I know we actually had a guy that was training with us about a month ago. That Kevin Gray came out and trained with us for a little over a week. I think he just fought. He ended up losing. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good option. You know, they're signing guys almost every night, sometimes 2 guys a night. So, you know, I think that's a definite option. You know, but I think LFA is right there too. You know, especially if I get this big win. If I don't get signed, you know, hopefully I get a title shot. And, you know, almost all their champions go to the UFC. So I think I'm making the right steps and you know, just keep grinding and get there.
You know, was it as a 125er, like, you know, a lot of stuff's been in the news with the flyweight division in the UFC, and them talking about scrapping it and like all the drama with Demetrius Johnson. Where did that kind of leave you sitting on the sideline as a prospect coming up? Were you at all nervous when you were hearing that conversation?
Yeah, I you know, I've actually heard those rumors too about them scrapping it. Man, it's kind of heartbreaking to me. You know, like I told you, it's been my dream since I started this to be in the UFC, and you know, I've talked to my coach about it and my manager about maybe moving up to 35, and you know, I feel like until they make this call, I'm not going to go up. You know, I feel like I'm going to stay at 25, keep building my record and build my name, and if I have to go overseas and fight for Risen or you know, any of those big promotions overseas, you know, I think I'll do that until at least until I get my name up there where I'm going to get paid to go up to 135.
How do you feel like you would size up at 135? Do you think you could handle that jump? Because you, like you said, your grapplings are strong, so usually guys can make that transition if they have the right grappling credentials.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel like my frame is a little short for there. You know, I walk about like 5'6", so I definitely have a little disadvantage in the reach. You know, some of those guys get pretty tall at 35.
Sure.
But most, like you said, most of them are wrestlers. You know, a lot of them are probably built like me, and I definitely could pack on some muscle. And you know, even before this camp, I was almost up to 150. But so I mean, I definitely could go to 35, but I think 25 is the right weight class for me. You know, I make weight fairly easily, and so I don't see any reason to go up.
You know, do you feel any added pressure on the on a stage like LFA and stuff? Like, I know you fought on some pretty sizable stages, but do you feel pressure on this stage to perform?
You know, definitely the first couple times I fought on TV, man, I was pretty nervous. I think, you know, the first few times you get in the big light and all the cameras in your faces, you get a little nervous. But, you know, I've done it for so long and I've been fighting for so long, you know, it's just another Friday night for me. You know, I just got to go in there and do what I do every day. So, you know, anymore it's not a big deal.
Do you find, do you tune the crowd out, or are you a kind of person that like absorbs that energy when you come out?
What was that?
I said, when you come out to fight, are you the type of person who kind of tunes out the noise and all the people and everything, or do you kind of absorb that?
You know, on my walkout, I like to absorb it, man. I feel like it gives me energy, especially I'm going to go fight in my home state of South Dakota, so I get to go back home, and, you know, the crowd gets wild back there. They're a bunch of country boys, so, you know, it gets wild and loud, and, you know, I take that energy in, but by the time I'm in the cage, man, I kind of just, I don't know if I black out or if I just zone in or what it is, but, you know, I kind of just get in the zone and it's all fight mode from there.
Listen, man, I really want to thank you for taking the time to join us and having this conversation. I know you're getting ready for fight, and you're pulled in a lot of different directions, and time is of there's not much time to spare. So I want to thank you for giving us some of it, and I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you fight on the 18th.
Awesome, man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
100%, man. You have yourself a great day, and see you in the cage, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Take care, man. I don't know why I thought this guy was a featherweight.
I looked down right as you started saying. I think you mentioned featherweight. Like I've never heard you say the word featherweight more times in a matter of 30 seconds.
And
I'm just sitting there, and I look down. I'm like, oh, he's hanging himself right now.
I'm like, I keep talking about featherweight, and then I'm like, it even clued into me as I looked over at you, and you were like, I'm like, oh my God, I screwed this up so bad.
It's all right. It happened. First time.
Yeah, hey, listen, things happen. What am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Tough guy, man. I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to this. I think the guy's got a bright future. So really looking forward to seeing Sydney Bice. I'm all over the place today, man.
It's okay.
I'm so tired. Oh man. So yeah, we're gonna see him. He's gonna be August 18th. He's gonna be back in business. And hold on one sec. Let's see what we got next. Tiffany Masters is gonna be up next. She's also fighting on LFA 19. The Dana White Contender Series. She's
Correct.
not on the LFA card. She's on the
Week
Dana
6.
White Contender Series, week 6. So Jamie Colleen, she's fighting. Tough girl from King of the Cage. Her only career loss is to Danielle Taylor in the UFC. So we're going to talk to Tiffany Masters and see what she's got to say. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Jason's going to get a drink of water.
Yeah, big time. All right, enjoy. We'll be back. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Tiffany, the Rainbow Renegade Masters, who's getting ready to compete on the Dana White Contender Series Week 6. What's going on, Tiffany? Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Actually, just got home from practice myself.
Oh, nice. How did training go tonight? How's everything?
Everything's going really well. I'm just winding down now, making sure all my technique's in order, but pretty much just waiting for the fight now.
Cool. The one thing I wanted to ask you before we get into the fight, Rainbow Renegade, where did you pick up that nickname?
That was kind of a random thing, really. I was at the gym one day training, and my coach just called me the Rainbow Renegade one day, and it pretty much stuck. Rainbow refers to, obviously, my part in the LGBT community,
Yep.
and then Renegade. I was kind of, when I first started training, I would kind of backsass my coach a lot, so I was always kind of talking back and not listening, so I think that's where that came from.
Hey, it could come from worse places, You'll be one of the first 2 women to compete on the Dana White Contender Series. That is a bit of history, and at the very least, it's going to be an interesting trivia question one day. How does it feel to be part of something like that?
It's amazing. It's crazy. When I first heard I was going to be on the show, I didn't know that I was going to be the first female fight. So I was like, oh, it's amazing that I'm going to be on the show. And then everyone kept telling me that they think I'm going to be the first women's fight. And as it got closer, I was like, wow, this really is the first one. So it's even crazier. And it's such an honor too, that I was chosen to be a part of it.
Definitely, I imagine it is. Is this fight the same as any other fight for you, or is there a little bit more involved in this, being that you're fighting in front of Dana and company, and it's probably the biggest opportunity of your career to this point? Does that give it a bit more pressure on you?
It is a little more pressure. I try not to think about it. I try to just treat it as any other fight. I always train hard for any fight that I take, but it is in the back of my head. It's kind of that added pressure a little bit, but as far as training, my training's all been the same, and I'm trying to just look at it as a normal, just another fight, just going in there, do what I do, and whatever happens. So try not to let it get to me.
In this fight or this show kind of seems tailored to someone like yourself. Dana's obviously shown in the first 5 weeks that he does lean towards the knockout, and all the contracts have been handed out, I believe, have been handed out for knockouts. I don't think there's been one handed out for a submission yet. And you happen to have numerous first round TKOs on your record. Knowing that that's his preference, do you feel does that put you in a good place heading into the fight, knowing that your style kind of lines itself up with what this show's looking for?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident going into the fight. Just like you said, my style, it's just pretty I wouldn't say it's like a super aggressive style, but it's fast paced and it's in your face. So I think it kind of fits like with this show and everything, and makes for an exciting fighter. And like you said, I have a lot of TKO first round finishes, and I have gotten a few submissions also. So I think I'm well prepared, and that I'm exciting enough to get their attention.
You know, one thing what I thought was interesting, I was looking at your Tapology page. How have your preparations been for this fight? You were supposed to compete at Invicta FC 24, I believe, but the fight was canceled. How good was the timing for this fight, since you had just been coming off like a full camp?
Yeah, that was a crazy thing, actually, because I found out the day of weigh-ins, probably maybe 2 hours before I was going to go weigh in, that my fight got canceled for Invicta. I was actually in the sauna, and I got out to check my weight, and then like got service on my phone, and all of a sudden I have all these like messages and missed phone calls, and I was like, oh, what is happening? And they're like, your bout's canceled, and I was like, please tell me that this is just some like really sick joke, but it wasn't. So my manager actually called me later that day and was like, all right, just stay prepared. We think we got you on this in the next couple of weeks coming up here. So it was pretty nice that I had just already gone through a full fight camp, and I was already pretty much on weight, that it wasn't like me scrambling last minute trying to get in shape for this show.
Absolutely. You know, it described to me what that's like as a fighter, to not just have your fight canceled, but to have it canceled while you're in the middle of probably the most grueling part of the training, which is like the weight cut and stuff. What does that do for you mentally to be in that place of cutting weight and getting ready in those last minute preparations, and then have that fight canceled at that time?
It's crushing is the only word I can really think about. You're in the middle of this weight cut. You've been in the sauna or the salt bath or whatever it is you do, and you've been doing it, and you're almost at the end. You see like the light at the end of the tunnel, and then it's to hear that you're not going to fight, and you went through not only that whole weight cut, but 6+ weeks of preparation, and that all of that's just for nothing now. It's just the worst feeling in the world. I think that's worse than losing, is to find out that your bout got canceled.
So what kind of flip side high did that give you then, when you get the call and it's like, okay, we think you got you on the Dana White Contender Series? Like, that must have just sent you skyrocketing back up to like an all-time high almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. When my manager first called me, the call failed, so I thought it was like a butt dial or something at first. I was like, oh, it's nothing. So yeah. I was just like, oh, whatever. And then he called back again right away, and I was like, ooh, what is this? Something exciting might be happening. And then I found out, and my coach was actually the next room over. I swear he woke up from a dead sleep and was like, what did you just say? It was the greatest. Yeah, it was so amazing.
Absolutely. You know, and speaking of the fight coming up, you got a tough opponent in Jamie Colleen, who has a win over a UFC strawweight, Danielle Taylor, on her resume. What do you know about her as an opponent, and how do you feel about the matchup?
I don't personally know too much about her. I don't really watch films of my opponent's fight. I let my coaches do all that, and I let them game plan for me and prepare me the best way that they think. But I know she's a stand-up fighter. But apart from that, I don't really know too much. I don't think it'll be too different from kind of the other people that I've seen, though, because I've fought stand-up people before, and I've fought ground people before, and it's had the same result in the end for me. So I'm not overly concerned that she's bringing something crazy to the octagon. Fair
enough. You know, you said you leave a lot of the like the breaking down of her fight style and stuff to your coaches, but where have they told you anything? Where do you feel like your biggest advantage is going to be in this fight?
I think my biggest advantage is that I'm kind of unpredictable. Each fight that I go into, I try to do something new or something different, and I think that makes me kind of unpredictable, because even if you watch videos of me fight, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing the same thing when you fight me. So I think that's definitely an advantage for me, as well as I'm I'm a pretty strong wrestler, and I know a lot of people know that a lot of my fights have ended on the ground in TKO or a submission, but I think training to prevent me from taking you down and actually being in there and experiencing it for yourself are two different things, and that people aren't really expecting the power from my takedowns too.
True. What do you, when you visualize this fight, first of all, how do you see yourself finishing this fight when you play it out in your head?
I've thought about a few different things. I mean, obviously you want to think about winning. You don't want to think about losing it all, but I try not to focus too much on any particular finish.
Mm-hmm.
I think a knockout would definitely be exciting. I think a submission would be exciting too, but I'm just picturing a win in the end, just having my hand raised. I'm not trying to obsess too much over one finish over another.
When you see, not obsessing over it so much, but when you see, like, for the previous 5 weeks, Dana's sided with the knockout artist every time. When you get in there, does that change the way you fight at all? Like, do you look at this and you're like, okay, I'm here for the contract. Like, I want to, primarily stick to my stand-up game where I'm going to look for the knockout. I'm not really going to concentrate so much on grappling. Does that go through your head at all?
Not really. The only thing that's really going through my head right now is I'm going to win no matter the cost, because you got to win first before you can get the contract. So it's pretty much just I'm going to win this by whatever means necessary, and hopefully they like that enough to give me a contract in the end.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm looking forward to the fight. I can't wait. I think it's about time that they got some good females in there fighting. Waiting for this for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Good luck, and I can't wait to see you in there. And I want to thank you for giving us some of your time. I know it's sparing right now, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's just around the corner. I can't wait.
I bet you can't, and neither can we. So good luck in the fight. Best of luck in getting that contract, and I can't wait to see you perform.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Yep, you too.
All right, take care. Tiffany Masters, she has like 5 first-round knockouts or something crazy.
Even her opponent lost her last fight by knockout, but every other win that she had was by knockout.
Yeah,
so Sean Shelby knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Danielle Taylor. That's it. She's super tough, man. She's tiny. Have you ever seen her compete in the UFC yet, Danielle Taylor?
No,
Tiny.
I didn't see her fight. No.
Like 5 feet tall, 4'11" or something like that. Like super tiny.
Yeah.
She's had some really, really tough fights. She's been in there tough. She's I think 2-1 in the UFC. I think.
Yeah.
So tough. So Jamie Colleen says she's very tough. She's definitely not a pushover. So should be a great fight. Really looking forward to it. Speaking of tough guys, we're going to be up next with Sam Alvey, who's coming off a big win over Rashad Evans. So stay with us, and we're going to have Sam Alvey on the line when we get back. See you in a minute.
Eric Colon anotó 29, 28, 29, 28. Your winner by split decision, el ganador por decisión dividida, Smiling Sam Alvey!
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Sam Alvey, who's coming off a big win over Rashad Evans at UFC Fight Night 114. What's going on, Sam? Thanks for joining us here at the Fight House, man. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, sir.
Absolutely, man. We're glad to have you. First off, congrats on the big victory over Rashad. It was a big one for you. Have you had a chance to watch the fight over again, and what do you think of your performance, man?
I haven't watched it over again. I'm sure I will. I got home, and I've just been kind of catching up on what I missed while I was gone. But I'm thrilled with the result. I know that the fight wasn't exactly what I wanted, but the result was. At the end of the day, that's what matters the most, I guess.
We assume when you're saying it wasn't exactly what you thought it was, you're talking about the stylistically with the fights?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was close. It was.
Yeah.
And I knew there was always the chance of that happening. We got two counter strikers fighting each other. You're both kind of waiting for each other to counter strike. And it wasn't my greatest fight, at least from a viewer standpoint. But I do believe I did everything I needed to do to get that win, and I just wish I could have landed that one, sweet punch.
You know, Rashad came in and he seemed like he obviously had a wrestle heavy game plan. He seemed married to the takedown. He was taking shot after shot on you. You were defending them really well, but was that frustrating for you? Just to come in and, like, you know, you want to engage in that fight and there's never really a rhythm that gets going because it's just constant shot after shot. Does that frustrate you in the cage?
You know, frustrating is the wrong word. I got to be able to adapt, and I defended all the takedowns. I even got some. I believe my striking from into clinch is what won the fight.
Yeah.
That I never let him really take me down. It makes it when I know he's going to try and wrestle me like that. It's really hard for me to get off all the punches I want to get off. If I come forward too much, he's going to shoot right under me.
So you just had to take more of a little bit of a tentative step, or like a tentative role, kind of, where you can't just overcommit.
Yeah, you know, when I wanted to throw that third punch or fourth punch, I wouldn't because I was scared he was gonna come in under it, and it was such a close fight. I couldn't afford to get put on my butt. I couldn't afford for a shot to work. Yeah, I feel like I still hit him. I think I outstruck him like 10-1 or something close to that. Yeah, I like I said at the beginning, I'm happy with the result. I just wish I could have. I would have much preferred a big knockout.
Oh, sure, I imagine. You know, right after the fight, what did you think when you were standing there and one of the judges gave it to Rashad? Were you at all worried at that point?
I might have been, except everything was in Spanish, and I didn't understand anything that was going on.
Got you.
All I knew was they weren't calling my name yet, so I was sweating bullets.
And what was your immediate thought when they did award you the victory?
I praised Jesus. I mean, that was the first thing I thought. Thank good Lord. I worked so hard for this fight, and as I'm sure he did. But to get that win at the end was just it meant so much.
You know, what's it like for a guy like you? You know, you're making a good run right now. What's it like to add a name like Rashad as a feather under your cap and add that to your resume?
He's the first former champion I've ever beat. You know, I can only dream about doing stuff like that. Now the dream has turned reality, and I hope I can keep doing it. I want to keep beating former champs until I get that opportunity to beat the actual champ. And I'm just going to keep plugging away until I get it.
You know, speaking of fighting another former champ, you were quick. You had a call it for Vitor Belfort, and he was quick to respond. What did you think of his response to you? Have you heard it? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, I've responded to his response. No, it was very respectful.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I laughed. So I was very happy. He's excited about the fight as I am. I hope it comes through. He wants it. I want it. We just got to make sure the UFC wants it.
Sure. You know, why Vitor? There's a lot of names you could have chosen in the middleweight division. What made Vitor the right one?
Well, as I said, I'm in the middle of a 2017 Vengeance tour. My coach and friend Dan Henderson, he lost a few times, and I'm going to right some of those wrongs. He lost to Rashad. I'm going to right that wrong. He lost to Vitor. I'm going to right that wrong. He lost to Machida and Anderson. I'm going to right those wrongs. And then, you know, at the end of that road is Michael Bisping. He arguably lost that fight, and I'm going to right that wrong.
So what's your path to take here? I mean, some guys have more time left than others. Bisping has said like he's got a couple fights left. Anderson, who knows when that happens? I feel like that could be at any point. He could call it a career. Which guy what's the order here that you would like to take these guys if you had your choice?
I have not thought that far ahead.
Fair enough.
The reason I picked Vitor is I thought he didn't have anyone lined up right now. Machida suspended Anderson. I heard rumors he's fighting someone. Vitor had nobody, so I went after Vitor.
How do you feel like you match up with Vitor?
I love the matchup. He's an aggressive dude who hits real hard. I'm kind of a counter guy who hits pretty hard, and I like the idea of us meeting in the middle of the ring and just throwing leather. And I think he's the first guy I have fought in a while that I can almost guarantee we will do just that.
With a guy with your style, is that a more comforting feeling when you're headed into the octagon and you kind of know what you're going to get from your opponent?
You never know, because as soon as I feel confident he's going to sit and strike with me, that's when they're going to take me down. That's when they're going to throw a flying armbar or something. So I never know. I just go out there with the best game plan I have, and I try and perform.
How do you feel like? Where do you feel like you have advantages over Vitor?
My chin, for one. I can take a punch, and he's coming to the end of his chin's days. So I know if we were going to sit and trade with one another, I would win that round. Another advantage is my cardio. I can have a high output for 3 or 5 rounds, however long I need, and I hope to be able to test that because I know he doesn't. And then just actual punching power. I think I hit harder. I think I hit harder than anyone in the UFC, or at least at middleweight. He probably kicked harder than I do, but that hasn't stopped me yet.
You know, where would you want that fight to take place? A lot of guys choose not to, or would rather not fight in Brazil against someone like Vitor, who has that status over there and stuff. Are you open to that, or do you want to fight in Vegas? Where would you like to see this fight happen?
The only place I don't want to fight is Vegas, but that's kind of where he wants to fight, so I'm cool with it. I don't care where I fight or when I fight. If it's in Brazil, sign me up. If it's in Japan, sign me up. Wherever, whenever, it doesn't matter. I love seeing the world. I love making fans everywhere I fight.
Let me just step back. Why did you say not Vegas? Like for yourself?
It's too close to home. I like traveling. Yeah, that's honestly. I like seeing Mexico City, and I like seeing Japan, and I like seeing Australia. Vegas is. I go to Vegas often enough. It's like 3 hours from my door. So I've got no desire to fight there really. But if that's where he wants, I'm in.
You know, speaking of Mexico City, did you have any issues with the elevation?
No, I did a lot to prepare for it, and I felt very good. I didn't get tired. I felt like my punching power was there. I work with Dynamic Fitness, Brian Richardson and Kevin Duenas, and they are just as good as it gets. And I've been working with them so long, they know how good I can get. So I felt great doing it. I felt great being up there, and I think it showed in the fight. I didn't get tired, and Rashad did.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, Min, just one more question for you, man. How soon do you want this fight to happen with Vitor? Like, when are you eyeing? Do you have a date in mind, or just whenever?
Whenever. If he wants to fight next week, I'm down.
I like it.
If he wants to fight on the undercard of the McGregor-Mayweather fight, I'm down. It doesn't matter to me. I'm always ready. I'm already training. I'm already getting ready for action, and I just can't wait to get back in that octagon and try and get that big knockout.
Nice. You know, you had talked before about the Vengeance Tour, and then you wanted to make a run for that belt. What kind of timeline do you give yourself for making a title run, a shot, for getting your shot?
I have the worst answer of anyone in the UFC. Is I don't care. My legacy is going to come before the belt does. I'm sure of it.
Fair.
So I'm going to beat these former champions. I'm going to beat these world beaters, and then I'll worry about it. We'll see who comes. I'll get there when I get there, but I'm just going to keep beating people up until I get that opportunity.
Sweet. Listen, man, I really want to thank you for joining us here at the Fight House. I really appreciate it. You giving us some of your time. That's awesome, and I hope to see this fight sooner than later, man.
Hey, me too, and thank you so much for having me on.
100%. Hopefully, when something happens and the fight goes down, we can have you back on the show to talk about it.
Hey, you can count on it.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, sir, and have yourself a great night, Sam.
You too, sir.
All right, bro.
All the guys at Team Quest, they're all the same way. They're always really respectful, you know.
Yeah, super good, dude.
Yeah.
You're super good, dude. And it's like a family there. Like, Steve Cazzola?
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Cazzola. He's been posting, man, on Sam's behalf. He's like, Vengeance Tour. Like, I was gonna ask him, but he had brought it up, so I kind of just went with it.
Yeah.
I love that guy, man. Anyone who smiles while they're in a fist fight is just has my respect.
Yeah, he clearly he loves it, and a lot of guys say, "Oh, yeah, I love to be in the cage." And you can see it on his face.
He's like, "No, I really love to be in the cage." You know,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
Another good conversation. Great fight. It was an awkward fight to me, but he did well.
He said it well. It was a two counter fighters. You know, guys like to wait.
Yeah, it was an awkward fight, but he he pulled through it. Those are fights you got to pull through. You know what I mean? You end up in those situations sometimes, and you got to be able to get through that, and he did. So kudos to him, and hopefully he gets that Vitor fight, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's for sure. We're gonna be back with the last interview of the evening, Mr. Antonio McKee. Lots of good stuff going on in his life, man. 47 years old, still training, still getting ready to fight. Just had a new baby. God damn, I don't know. You guys are savage. 47 years old, you're a beast, sir. But we will be back with Antonio McKee on the line, so stay tuned. We got lots to talk about. See you in a bit. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Antonio McKee, the legend. What's going on, sir? Thank you for joining us here at the Fight House.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be on and talk. I love to talk, as you guys know.
Yeah, 100%, man. How's everything been? I mean, I seen that on social media you got a new addition to the family. Congrats on that.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, you know what, man? It's been a lot of work, man. You got AJ, you got Joey, Iceman Joey. Now we got Aaron Pico. So I'm staying real busy, man. We got Brandon Halsey. So, these guys are all up-and-comers, veterans as well, but just a full roster ahead. Great, entertaining fights for these guys. And, as we know, these guys are kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, man. What I meant was you had a son, though, no? Didn't you just have a new baby boy?
Yeah. I just had a little boy. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, how's that?
I don't put him on I keep him under the radar until he's 1 year old.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't want nobody doing nothing. You know what I mean? He's the next legend.
He's the next legend. Yeah, you keep him coming, huh?
Yeah.
Well, man, what was it like to start up again at 47 years old as a new father? That's scary. I got 2 at 36. That scared the hell out of me, man.
You know what, man? I enjoy being young and doing young things. I'm getting ready to fight again. I got to fight October 7th. I mean, you know what? I take really good care of myself. I'm healthy. I'm natural. I'm drug free. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And I just try to be an example for everybody. To let them know. Look, at 47, you can get out there and roll with the best still. I told Bellator, be careful. You might mess around and have me in a belt competition in a minute.
Sorry, go ahead.
Huh?
No, sorry. Yeah, you were saying Bellator might have you for a belt. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I told him. I said, hey, man, I think I need to run for that 155-pound belt. UFC did me real dirty because they didn't like an interview that I did, so I ended up losing a split decision that I really won. But, you got to grow from your losses, and I'm way more mature now than I ever was before. So I understand things, a little different, and being able to work with all the high-level fighters, I got a chance to see the other side that I never got a chance to play the game. I wouldn't have played it anyway. I'm just not a kiss-ass type guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really a stand-up, straightforward, in-your-face type of guy. But I'll give you my heart as long as you earned it,
Sure. You mentioned you got a fight coming up, what you said, October 7th, correct?
Yes.
Where's that what banner is that going to be under?
I'm fighting in Long Beach under Brock. I forget the EEF.
Hello?
It's in the Pyramid in Long Beach.
Oh, cool. One thing, man, I noticed, 47 years old, you're going to be stepping back in there. That is commendable, my friend. But what changes do you have to make to a training camp when you're 47 as opposed to when you were in your 20s training?
I need a lot more rest time and not so much going live and going hard. Lots of drills, a lot of strength and conditioning, a lot of cardio. Biggest thing for me is I'm way better physically than I've ever been. Your gas tank is always suspect when you get older, and just injuries. I'm trying to stay injury free.
What
you got guys like Aaron Pico and AJ and Joey Davis, and going full throttle with those guys. They're trying to prove a point to coach, and coach is trying to keep up with them. It's real easy to get hurt.
Absolutely, yeah. It all becomes about maintenance at this point, is what you're saying, I guess.
Absolutely.
What makes you want to fight again, man? At this point of your life, what is it that draws you back in at 47 years old to take a fight?
It's fun. I never fought for money. I never fought for the fans. I never fought for the critics. I fought because I had fun doing it. And I've never been as comfortable as I am now in my life. You know, before it was real stressful. I was in a really crazy chaos marriage. I was a full-time dad, a business owner. I mean, I had so much stuff going on. I don't even know how I was able to fight. But now, you know, I went to Russia. I fought. I got Fight of the Night. And who would have ever thought that Tony McKee would get Fight of the Night? I put on such a great performance, and it made. I never got comfortable in my own skin in the sport to be able to do it. So now, like, I'm training the best fighters in the world, Tyron Woodley. You know, we're working with a lot of high-profile guys, and I'm right there. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't stop fighting because I got hurt or I was too old. I stopped fighting because I couldn't deal with the politics, the bullshit.
Yeah.
So now, you know, it doesn't matter. Politics or bullshit. You can't stop excellence. And I'm seeing that with my son. You know, he's 8-0, all finishes with the exception of 2 fights.
Mm-hmm.
But all my guys are exciting to watch, you know, and they're winning. We're like 97% winning ratio in my gym.
Yeah, definitely got some big names in there, man, doing big things. None bigger than your boy. How much does that contribute to your hunger, like to compete and just to get back in there when you, like you said, when you're in there and you're going full throttle with AJ and Aaron Pico and these guys? What does that do for you to drive you?
Man, shit. Actually, it works the opposite. When I'm going with these guys, I go, man, do I really want to do this again? Do I really want to get in there with somebody punching me in my face, twisting on me, and I got to take them down, and I got to stand up and trade blows?
Yeah.
I think about it when I'm tired, when I'm gassing, when my body's hurting. But I'm a warrior, man. I come from a bloodline of fight. So that's when I suck it up, bite my mouthpiece, and I keep going.
You know, how many fights do you think you have left in you?
I've got maybe between 5, 10. I mean, I never took damage. You got to look at my career. I had over 50 fights.
Right.
I didn't take no damage. You know,
No,
I had one fight where I got knocked out 20, 30 years ago. Other than that, I never really took damage. I didn't stand up and bang it out with people. I mean, I was smart. I fought smart. A lot of people didn't like it, didn't agree with it. At the end of the day, it didn't matter what they agreed or disagreed with. I got the win, and I'm healthy. That's what's important.
Absolutely. You know, AJ's mentioned on numerous occasions that he wants to make history and compete on the same card as you. What would that mean to you to fight on the same card as your son? Like, he said what it would mean to him, but what would it mean to you?
You know, it would be history in the making. It would be something that I think any father that's a fighter would only ever dream to fight on the same card of a professional sport or any sport professional, to play or compete at the same level in the same organization that your son is competing. That's a dream within itself, and let alone if we both came out with a victory, that's like over the top kill. You know, he's my corner, I'm his corner, we got each other's back. I think people need to see that even more, that we're black. You know, well, he's Lebanese and Russian and black, but people always say, well, what does race have to do with it? Well, I'll tell you, because there's not a lot of positive stuff about male blacks as fathers. Tell me what have you seen where there was a positive thing between a son of color and his dad?
You
know what I mean?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so you make
right.
a very valid point.
So I would like for us to be seen in a different light. You know, these are two guys. They're in one of the toughest sports in the world, fighting. There's nothing that's worse than it. I mean, this defines who the man is. It doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter how many women you got. When you're a fighter, bro, you're a breed alone. And to be able to step on the same platform in one night with my son under the lights on national network, it's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what
and it's going to happen within the next year, between the end of this year and next year. It's going to happen.
Have you spoken?
We've already talked to Bellator, and you know, I've got a great record.
I'd say you have a great record. You only have what,
so
6? I think 39 and 6 or something.
You know, McKee still got it in him, and I think the thing that's going to be even more spectacular is that they're going to get more excitement out of me. Because before I was kind of the ground and pounding style. You know, I'd take them down, ground and pound them out. Well, now I've had so much time to train and teach that I picked up some good tricks on my own.
Fair enough.
So I don't have to rely on the ground and pound and the takedown. My stand-up is excellent. I have no problem. I've always had good stand-up. People that knew me, and they would always get mad because they're like, why don't you stand up, man? Why don't you strike? You got great striking. People don't know I used to box first.
Oh, okay.
I boxed before I did anything. So it was more me being stubborn and political, trying to make a point. And I'm glad I did that because I've got friends that can barely walk now that I've trained. You got the Tito Ortizes that's had neck surgeries, back surgeries, Rampage, knee surgeries, shoulder surgeries. I mean, these guys are legends in the sport, but they're busted up. Their bodies are hurting.
Absolutely.
And where are the fans at now?
Yeah.
They're going to be cheering for me in a minute. you know what I mean? I'm not the bad guy anymore. I'm not the bad guy. Everyone wants to see the old man win. Oh, man, I hope this old man wins. So I got a lot of momentum coming behind me, and I don't think that it's going to ever be a boring fight again because you're going to wonder, like, is McKee going to get tired, or is he going to be able to keep up this pace?
Have you thought, speaking of all this, the Bellator talk of fighting with AJ, first of all, I love hearing that it's going to happen 100% because I think it's just an awesome
Say that again.
thing.
I didn't hear you. Cut out.
Sorry, I said just hearing about that you're confirming that yes you do want to fight. It is going to happen on the same card as AJ with Bellator. I'm super excited for that. I think that's an awesome thing just for the father-son element of it. But also Bellator has a lot of legends and pioneers on the roster. Is there anyone of those names that jumps off the page at you that they currently have signed as someone you would be interested in fighting?
I'd love to take a fight with Gracie Hoyce. But I don't think I don't think he would do it. First of all, I'm just in too good a shape for those for those guys. And 9 times out of 10, when that should be a fight, Antonio McKee and Gracie, right? But I'm sure he would ask for millions of dollars, and Bellator's not going to pay millions of dollars for me to go out here and beat this guy up.
Fair enough.
No disrespect to Gracie, he's awesome, but I'm a different 47, bro. I think you guys are going to see that when I fight.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm really looking forward to it, man. Because I obviously hadn't seen you competing, but I was looking at some pictures from the gym on social media of you and AJ, and you're ripped, man. For 47 years old, you are ripped, sir. I was like,
well, man, I'm getting my ass kicked every day by AJ and Joey and all these guys. I don't have a choice. They throw me around, and then I'm their striking coach too. I'm their kicking coach too. So I'm getting like a double workout, and I'm trying to figure out am I just getting old or am I really tired? Because I can't figure it out.
Fair. It's true. But you know what? Hey, listen, a lot of guys couldn't even get in there and keep up, with the likes of like AJ and guys like this. So the fact that you're even in the gym every day, rolling with these guys and going to war with these guys, this is the future of the sport. Your son along with a group of others, right? So the fact you're even out there with the young bucks keeping up says a lot.
Well, that's what makes me want to fight again. I know they're not trying to hurt me, and I'm not trying to hurt them. But if it came down to it, I mean, I've got weapons of mass destruction. They're called deadly elbows, man. I got these elbows from hell. and it doesn't matter who I fight. If I can throw elbows, you're getting cut.
True. One thing I'll ask you quickly, because when I talked to AJ, he was telling me that he wanted the Gallagher fight because obviously things got a little bit personal with AJ and James Gallagher, and he said that you had told him that you don't need to take that fight, it's not a fight that does anything for you. What made you feel like that when you looked at Gallagher?
Well, Gallagher's nowhere near in the same boat as AJ. I mean, I train a lot of fighters. I work with a lot of high-level guys in the UFC, out of the UFC, in Bellator. And let me tell you something. Nobody gives me the problems that my son gives me. Although his style was taught to be able to beat a wrestler that could hold him down, he's so long. He's slick, six submissions. He's good off his back. He's good on top. He's good on his feet. Like, where do you rest against a guy like AJ?
True.
There's no rest. And Gallagher is just one dimension. Like, he's like light years behind AJ. I mean, he's tough. He's a tough kid. He went 3 rounds with Anthony Taylor. Anthony Taylor wouldn't make it out of 2 minutes with AJ in a fight.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I agree with that.
I know the difference. I watch him train, and AJ is just getting better and better and better and more elusive and more exciting and more angles. I'm telling you, he's going to be probably one of the greatest fighters in the world if he chooses to do that. He's just you can't describe the style. And I played a lot in that because I realized everyone what they're going to do when they come out. Mm-hmm. He is so unpredictable. You have no idea whether you're getting ready to get kicked in the head, whether you're getting ready to get kneed in the face, whether you're getting ready to get elbowed, whether you're getting ready to get that straight left down the middle, or you may even get submitted. You don't know really where the fight's going to go because he's got excellent wrestling defense. He's got excellent jiu-jitsu. So how do you train for a guy like that? It takes 3 guys to really get him ready. You need a good guy that can wrestle. You need a good guy that can strike. You need a good guy that's got straight-up good jiu-jitsu. But you got to put them all in one, moving at his speed with his range and his strength. That's going to be hard to train for. Hey. 3 5-minute rounds. I'm telling you, he's going to go right through the whole division. He's a humble kid. He doesn't talk smack. But I know because I'm watching and I see what he's doing in the gym with some of the highest level guys out there. He's playing with them. I'm not going to say their names, because they're still active in the UFC or they're still active in Bellator. But let me tell you something. They're not even in the same league. Like he's having fun.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of AJ, and I have said that I do believe he's the future in as far as Bellator is concerned in their 145 and 155 division. But let me ask you this.
Well, we also got to be smart.
Sure.
A lot of people don't understand mixed martial arts. They don't understand the dynamics. They don't understand the price, the money, the pain, the suffering, the damage done to the body. My son is taken care of by me. It's my boy. You know what I mean? I love him. And nobody's going to do what Daddy's going to do. Now, maybe someone has more knowledge than Daddy. Then we'll submit and we'll go to where there's a greater a greater sense of knowledge. But what I'm learning is, so far, a lot of people are full of shit.
True.
Oh, I can get you this, I can get you that, so let me manage you. And then you find out, well, the only reason you can get that is because you're friends with that guy. And you know what? What you're taking in percentage, we're better off just waiting. Because like I keep telling AJ, I said, son, keep winning the fans. Once you win the fans, you win the purse.
It's a very true statement.
And so that you know what? No matter how good you are, how ugly you are, how bad you are, it doesn't matter. If you got a fan base of people that will support you, it's all about the media.
True.
And he's on his way. He's 8-0, and they can't even gauge how good he is.
Absolutely.
They're like, dang it, we don't really know, We've never seen him struggle in a fight.
The one thing I've been waiting, between me and you, I've been waiting to see him get his shot at that upper crust of the division, because he was supposed to fight, oh my God, Emmanuel Sanchez, I believe.
Right.
Right. He was.
They knew. Well, he played hurt.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong. We had spies in his room, like he had spies in our room. But his spies came from, hey, that kid is really fucking good.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna be a good fight, and you don't take it that serious. So you know what? He got hurt. Smart move, because it would have fucked his career up. At least now, huh? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying the one thing that I like ever since that fight was canceled, though, I've been waiting for AJ to get that next name. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that next big name or the next guy that's in that upper crust. And then when Gallagher came along, I kind of felt like Bellator kind of like tried to push AJ a bit to the back seat or something. It kind of felt that way. Do you guys feel that way in your camp?
Well, no. You know what? They're smart. Why? See, that has to be a fight that the fans want to see, because Gallagher's a draw.
Yep, absolutely.
And AJ's the future champion. So you got to remember, too, this is a business. This isn't just about who's the baddest ass fighter. This isn't like most sports.
Right.
This is about who's going to push ticket sales, who's going to make the ratings go up. Now, who wants to see AJ beat up Gallagher right now? People don't even know who AJ is like they should.
Right.
You know what I mean? A year or two from now, hey, the way Gallagher's talking, the way AJ is whooping people's ass, The fans are going to demand it, and when the fans demand it, let me tell you, Bellator gives people what they give the fans what they want, and so does the UFC. That's one thing I can say. They give the fans what they want.
True, and it'll be a good. I'm sure it'll be a good payday on that day too for AJ and James.
That's the other thing too, is that we also got to fight in our contract. I'm not stupid to the game. I've been in it for a while. I understand the contracts. I understand the fight level and the fight level contracts. And right now we're not in title contingency fight contract pay.
Got you.
We'll just keep fighting our contract, and we'll complete our contract. We'll do what we're supposed to do, and when the table is turned and we got to sit down and renegotiate, we'll be ready to say, okay, we want the top 5 guys. Let's get it on and let's make a title run. And this is what I think the pay should be. I think it's fair. I think he's the Bellator baby. This is the youngest fighter in the history to go undefeated besides Gallagher. But, like I said, you can keep babysitting him, but eventually the people are going to demand that fight.
True. Listen, Antonio, I really want to thank you, man, for joining us on the Fight House. I really appreciate you giving us the time. You and your son, you both are always available to give us a few minutes. I really appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to your fight on October 7th, and I really hope we see you and AJ on the same card with Bellator before the end of the year. I think that would be awesome.
Man, it's going to happen, and I want everybody to just enjoy it like I'm going to enjoy it. You're going to be able to see a different Antonio out there. You're going to be able to see, man, he's out here having fun. Look at him. He's laughing. He's not serious. He's not mean-mugging. He's not talking shit. He's out here having a good time, whooping ass and taking names.
Sweet, man. I can't wait to see it, sir.
All right. Thank you, man, for the interview. I appreciate it. And anytime you guys need talent, man, call us up, man. We're the gym that no one really wants to talk about, but we're doing it.
Sweet, man. Yeah, we
don't get the articles.
I definitely will reach out to you, man. It's something I'm interested in for sure, 100%. So you'll hear from me soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, man. Take care. Thank you.
All right, bro. Take care. The legend. Yeah,
he wasn't kidding. He's like, yeah, I think it was I got knocked out like 20 years ago, and I look at the record, and it's like year 2000, April, King of the Cage lost. Yeah, it's literally like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
17 years.
It's crazy.
He's right. I mean, that's amazing. Like, imagine having that on your side. You know what I mean? You're a fighter, and you're a young fighter. You're trying to figure all this stuff out, but you don't really have to. Your dad's like, no, don't worry. I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for AJ.
Yeah.
Huge advantage for him.
I could see wanting to be your own, wanting to be your own man, do your own thing, but at the same time, it's just like just go with the experience.
Yeah,
man.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does have that, right?
Well, he gets to do that in the cage.
And it's also like pick and choose where you act like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are times when AJ's like, no, like this is my gig,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's other times where he's like, no, I'm gonna listen to Pops here, like Pop.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I'm talking about.
You can just hear the experience when he speaks. There's just no bullshit, like he said.
Yeah. And dude, he's trained Rampage. He's trained these dudes. Like he's been around. Like not only is he one of the best, he's helped train some of the best.
Yeah.
So over there at the Body Shop, man, they're really doing it. It's another great show, man. We had a lot of good guests today. Sam Alvey joined us. Antonio McKee, got to talk to
the flyweight, Sid Bice.
Sid Bice, the flyweight, right? Not gonna let me live that one down.
Never.
Tiffany Masters, we had a good conversation with her. Overall, it's been a good show. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have 6 more guests for you at least. Enjoy, and hopefully you'll come back to catch next week. It's me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy,
and it's been another good week here at the Fight House. Have yourselves a good night.